Hello, this is Diné here, your time management expert, helping you to better manage your time as you work from home. And for those of you who are experiencing feelings of loneliness, helping you to transform those times that you spend alone. In this video, I'll be talking with Almira and her journey to overcoming loneliness. Almira is one of the members in a business group that I attend, and a discussion around the feelings of loneliness that solopreneurs experience came up. And that evolved into me working with Almira on her feelings of loneliness and how it changed her life both personally and professionally. So I am so grateful for you taking the time out to have a chat with me. And the first question I have for you is, what was happening in your life when you decided to do a session with me on loneliness?
Well, like we met in a group, and when you talked about what you had to offer as a hypnotist, I felt like it it resonated with me and how I was feeling now being more or less a full-time entrepreneur offering my services. And just to give a little history, and for your audience, I previously had worked as a nurse for over 40 years, and I was more hands-on, seeing people every day or every time I worked. But when I backed away from that and started doing my own business as an entrepreneur, as a wellness coach, um, it was very lonely,
Yeah,
because it was just me. I'm a solopreneur, the head cook and dishwasher and everything. And that gave me a feeling of being very lonely, very separated, very standalone. As before, I worked with others depended on me, I depended on them. But right, at this point, I was alone,
yeah,
except for when I was, working with clients, or, every now and then meeting up with others. So that when we talked, it really enhanced that feeling that I knew I had, that was loneliness.
yeah,
And you struck a chord when you mentioned that.
yeah, yeah. Wow. And so, how long would you say that you were having those feelings of loneliness?
I'd say probably close to 6 months. Yeah, I'd say close to 6 months. And they were, I think, and it even enhanced even more around the holidays, and as things usually do, because people are more involved with their families and things like that. And I was just doing the business. Yes, I had a family, but it just seems like during that November, December, January period, that last it just seems like it brought it out even more.
Yeah, it's just hard sometimes during the holidays.
As you don't know, some entrepreneurs take a break. I have been coached that this is the time that you intensify,
Yeah,
because other people are taking a break, and, a lot of times making appointments and stuff like that with clients. You're trying to weave in between their family time, and things like that. So it's definitely up and down during that time. And even for my husband, who is also a full-time entrepreneur, things tend to take, a bit of a downturn, just because people really emphasize or are getting more inward towards their families and not looking out so much for doing other things. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I know you mentioned about 6 months ago is when you felt it, and you felt like it was getting worse over time.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
was.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So one of the reasons why you wanted to handle it now was because you felt it getting worse and you wanted to just make sure it didn't get any more worse than how you
absolutely.
were feeling by the time that we spoke.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So have you tried to do anything to fix it in the past?
In the past, and this was quite a while ago, I had um, looked at being a part of more local groups, where we would meet face to face. But that takes up a lot of time, and I don't know. it was good, but that was prior to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, everybody kind of squirreled away. They weren't
Yeah.
doing any more in-person meeting, and I had went back to more more hospital things at that time. And again, but we were all wearing masks and we were
Yes.
very, still pretty isolated, from each other. So yeah, it was a very different time at that time. Yeah, and we all had to figure out everything, you
Yeah.
know, grocery
Yeah.
shopping, meetings, everything, so things really changed after that.
Okay. Okay. And so, the thing that you mainly tried in the past was to, like you said, get back into groups.
Hmm.
Uh, but most of it was online, I guess.
Yeah, but prior to the pandemic, they were in-person meetings. But like I said, after, the pandemic, which is when I jumped back into this, um, it was just very different. We had to relearn, Zoom became really, popular. And like I said, I was still doing some part-time work at the hospital, so I still had that. But then when I decided to go back to really move into this full time, was when I was noticing, okay, I need to do something else because, you know, clients are good, but they're not your friends. They're not the people that you're talking out things with. And so they're not the ones that you're going to talk about, oh, I had this downturn or have you used this program before or what's working for you? That kind of shop talk that you
Yes.
need from other entrepreneurs. That wasn't there with clients.
Right.
Right. So when we
So
started talking, that kind of you brought out certain things. It's like, yeah, that's what that is. That's lonely. So I'm a solopreneur. I'm the head cook dishwasher here thing. So yeah. So that really resonated with me.
okay. So you felt like when you were in the hospital setting that you didn't have those feelings of loneliness. It was when you started the solopreneur, that's when it really started kicking in.
Yes,
But that
absolutely.
was before 6 months ago then, right? It was a little bit before then.
A little bit before then, but I really didn't notice it as much, and it just started, like I said, the more I started working on my coaching business, the more I started noticing it, and the busy work and things like that, and then like I said, it really hit home over the holidays.
Okay, okay. Okay, so it was about 6 months that you realized that it was loneliness. So before you were having some feelings, you would say, but it's not until, like you said, around the holidays or 6 months before that
Mm.
you knew that it was loneliness. That was the
Yes,
feelings that you
absolutely.
experienced. Okay, okay, makes sense, makes sense. Um, so before you decided to book in with me, what were your feelings or thoughts around hypnosis? Assuming that this wasn't your first session, or would you say that it was as you as a client?
This particular issue that as we met as a group from being in hypnosis. I mean, I use it also. Clearly I use it for my clients, and I knew it was for me, that it could help solve the problem. And then you put the nail or pinpointed the problem very well, and I was like, yeah, that's it. And sometimes we can have just as much difficulty identifying our own issues,
Yeah,
and I felt, well, she's, identified this problem, and those things that you were talking about. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that way.
right.
So when I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
So because I totally believe in it. I know that the changes all begin within, and how we think and how we talk, and our conscious as well as definitely our unconscious thinking. So I knew that what you were offering up was something that I could definitely utilize to get rid of or resolve that feeling that I was having of being a lonely entrepreneur. Um,
yeah, yeah. Which a lot of us, it's so true because a lot of us do go through that.
mhm.
It's like you said, it's wonderful to have the groups that we can connect with and just be able to talk about some of the things that we're experiencing, because I think hearing other people go through it, it kind of pinpoints what we're feeling, you know?
Absolutely.
Because, like you said, sometimes we have the feelings, but we're not too sure what those feelings are about or why they're even coming up. So that's why having groups sometimes is really, really helpful. So, what would you say? How was your experience having this session with me?
Well, they're definitely very positive, and I think the main thing that the session brought out so quickly for me, after we talked, it was just like, you're processing and processing. And as I always say to myself, I know that, and in our session, it brought it out even, for me, even more so afterwards, was that I have all the tools that I need. And that just helped bring it forward. Okay. And it was just like, you have this. Why aren't you utilizing it? And it was just like a light came on. It was like, oh, okay. It just wasn't joining groups, but it was really immersing myself into groups, being a part of it, just like I was when I was going to the hospital. Um, there were people, groups, things that I can do that there's things that I can offer to really feel a part of, whatever group, like, a lot of our work sessions that we do. And that really helped bring forward for me that, yeah, in my business, I'm doing things, strictly for my clients, but I can help others, and
Yeah.
enhance that. And I don't have that feeling of loneliness because we're meeting, well, there's other groups that I meet with too. So there's at least 3 times a week where I can feel really a part of something. And all
Yeah.
I had to do was just give a part of me, not just join the group, but really show up and offer, to be a part of the group, offer to do some things in the group. And it really made me feel, um, I hate to using the word a part of things, but it really helped me feel immersed,
And
as an
connected.
entrepreneur, as a solo
Yeah.
entrepreneur. It really gave some meaning to the work,
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
work of being a solopreneur. So
Yeah.
that it helped a lot with that.
Yeah. Because I
Put
think,
some choice back in. I knew I had some choices. I knew I
right.
had some opportunities. And it's just like, well, why aren't you using it? You know? And
Yes.
then it was like, well, there's no reason. So now as you know, I put myself out there in the group. I try to help wherever I can and what resources, that I have. And like I told you, I also use it as an accountability tool. For if I tell you I'm going to do this, you should look for these things from me. And that felt really good. Uh,
Yeah.
because going to the hospital at work, I had that accountability. I knew what time I needed to show up. I knew what I needed to do. And so I've moved that, now to the groups that I work with. And it really feels good. I have that accountability. Um, that solopreneurship is there. Uh, but I'm not alone
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
I'll talk about those kinds of things. And that was very igniting, very inspiring, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. And you brought up such a wonderful point in that, as you do these sessions, it's not just about resolving one thing, because you were in the group, but there's a sense of confidence that came out where you were able to more engage with everyone, um, and even go a step further in taking on some responsibilities for the group.
Right.
So we work on one thing, but then there's other areas in your life that
Yeah, they just
actually,
blossom
yeah,
out. Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, which is the wonderful, wonderful thing with this work, that it taps into more than resolving one thing,
Mhm. Like the
So
domino effect. One thing starts to fall down after another, after another. So
yes,
one, things resolve and resolve and resolve. And that's what's just so awesome about the work that we do. Uh,
yeah, yeah, and that's
We call it
something.
untying knots, but yeah, it was just one
Yeah,
knot after another because, things layer on top of each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and then the other thing too is like you said, the resources are there, but it's something is like blocking or making you stuck from actually utilizing the resources that you have. So, doing this work, it helps you to remove those blocks so you can utilize the resources that you have, you know?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. You can see them. It's just like there was a veil there in front of you, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, ta-da, look and
yes,
see.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
it,
So you can
it's
give,
there was
yeah,
something behind the curtain, and then having the conversation with someone, asking the right questions like you did, helped move that curtain away. And it's just like, oh, look at all those prizes there. You know?
yes, which is so wonderful.
Mhm.
And yeah, because it's like you can bring your full self forth with those resources, you know, it's like they're there, but a part of you is not really able to connect with it. And now, like you said, that you're really able to immerse yourself into it, which is
Absolutely.
a wonderful
Absolutely.
thing. And
Hmm.
even like you said, using the resource as you did for an accountability group
Hmm.
and having those ideas, a lot of more ideas came forth in how to use your resources, um,
Yes.
which was nice.
Hmm.
Um, so, how do you feel now after the session?
Well, every single day I feel inspired because um, I know I have those resources, those choices there for me now. And I don't, even though I might be sitting here in my room by myself, I don't feel lonely. Because I know anytime I want, I can reach out to any of you guys. I can utilize those resources. I look forward to our gatherings. Like I said, I try to make sure I have something to offer, when we do get together, and that feels wonderful to me. And I think that's the nurse in me coming out, is that I want to give something too. And
uh,
so that really helps a lot to feed that part of me. And
yeah,
it was, like I said, it was always there. But again, just having our talk together just helped pull that curtain back that says, hey, here's all these things you can do. They may not be useful to everybody, but it might help one person in the group. And that's fine. And I'm okay with that. And I'm also really glad that, I can take away some things from the group. So it helps me as a receiver as well as, just not being a giver all the time, which is what nurses do. It really helps with that on that receiving end also. So I really appreciate that. And it was again, it was like after our conversation, like we always talk about processing time, and
yeah,
that processing time, it just slowly, just kind of came, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can utilize that. It wasn't
yeah,
like in my terms that I pulled off a Band-Aid and was like, ow. It was just like, okay, there's
uh,
something there. Okay, there's a little bit there. So yeah, it kind
yeah,
of everything just kind of
piece.
slowly but consistently revealed itself. And so I just
Yeah.
utilized it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. That it wasn't a struggle. This transition wasn't a struggle. It
No.
kind of just came effortlessly and easily for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was wonderful. Yes, and again, after the session, there is that processing time where, bits and pieces of the insights that you had gotten from the session, they start settling in. You start embodying those choices that you
Hmm.
had. They're not just choices, but you're actually playing with those choices. You're engaging with those choices,
Right.
um, and that's the difference. Because before, like you said, you were just a receiver of information, and you felt like you weren't engaging as much. But this allowed you now to really become more proactive.
Right.
Um, and I have to say, I've connected with you online, and your content is amazing. Your content is
Thank
amazing,
you.
and I noticed that you've been very regular. And I think that was one of the things that was how loneliness was affecting you, is that you felt like you weren't producing enough content like you wanted to, and you weren't thriving in your business the way that you wanted to and know that you could. And so that was a block.
Mhm.
But since the session, I noticed that you have been doing that, which is, yeah, you've been on top of it now.
Yeah, because people don't know you're there if you're not putting out the content, and they don't know, what you have to offer, and they don't know sometimes, just like when we were talking, what they need until they might hear something. So when you're putting out content, you know, several times a week, something hopefully will resonate with someone who could be, a part of your audience or someone that might need you. So yeah, like I say, everything may not resonate every single day, but if that one day, if that one couple of minutes, they get an aha moment that goes, hey, that's me she's talking to, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know your tips have definitely helped me, so I definitely appreciate it. And so, when you think about your life now, what are you most looking forward to?
So many things. And sometimes you just, so much is coming in that it's just like, wait a minute, let me pick up my phone and turn on my recorder so I can get all of this.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
I just, just about almost every day, every morning, I feel so inspired to share what I have or something new that came up. So I don't feel the loneliness anymore. That feeling is just not there, which kind of, it kind of weighs on you at times,
Yeah.
but it's not there. And I'm glad it's not there because it kept covering so many things up for me. And so now I look forward to, all of our meetings. And of course, I look forward to all the times that I meet with clients, even if it's just a get to know you meeting.
Yeah.
That's just great. And if they decide they want to work with me, fine. It's just it just doesn't weigh on me so much, that, oh, did I make my quota today? And it's just like, yeah, that's just I just think if I just put it out there, and finally it'll bump into the right people who want what I have to offer, the time and helping them sort out, their issues about, wellness and getting on the right track for, what it is how they want to show up, fantastic. It's just putting more and more out there, and hopefully it'll just bump into the people that feel like they need it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. And it's so key. Like you said, we can't really, if we're having those feelings of loneliness just bringing us down, then, even in terms of your business, it's going to be hard for you to really thrive and excel doing the things that you really know that you need to do in order to promote yourself and grow your business. So then what would you say to people who are putting off fixing their problems?
It, you know, you're putting off living. You're putting off, and we're only given so much time, just like we all know. We have no idea when that clock's going to end. And I really feel like, if nothing else, it's your responsibility to seek out ways to resolve your issues, whether it's loneliness, whether it's feeling like, low energy, or that you want to lose weight, or that, whatever that happens to be. The first part of it is our responsibility to seek out the professional help that we need to get over that problem. I mean, when I think we've talked about Michael Strahan before and all his different jobs. And I just think about, this is March Madness is coming up, all these people that are doing great things have coaches,
Yeah.
to focus in, to help them to get over whatever it is, or to be their best. I mean, you help people get through, entrepreneurs get over loneliness. And when you were talking, it just oh yeah, that problem was identified for me. And, we have people that help people, get around their anxiety. I help folks, live a healthier, life. I think it's our responsibility that, we know we have this issue. We know we want to fix this for ourselves, and, to look around and find those resources, whether it's a book, whether it's a person, whether it's a course. I think we have the responsibility to reach out, which is what I took when I reached out to the groups and said, hey, this is what I want to do. That part is ownership is on, that person. If you know there's some change you want to make in your life, find that resource that can help you. And the reason you do that is so you can get over it quickly.
Yeah.
I talked to you just one time. It's just like, hey, I know what I can do, so find that resource, find that professional person that can help you. And that's what we've gone through all of it. We have the tools that can help you. You go get your car fixed, you go get new tires, you go to some place that has tires, that has new tires. You want a great meal, you go for some place that serves good meals. So, you find that resource, that person that can help you move quickly so that you can get on with living the life that you want. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well said, Almira. Well said. Because and the first words was, you're stopping yourself from living.
Hmm.
And that really is the bottom line. We only have, this one life in this body, and it's about, experiencing it, experiencing living. And to waste any time by letting these shadows hold us back from living our life purpose, then it's not benefiting not just us, but the people who we can serve, you
Hmm.
know?
Our families, everybody, if you're
Exactly.
don't know what to do or how to do something, then go find somebody that can help you.
Yes, yes,
Go
because
find somebody because spinning your wheels not just waste time, which we can't get back. uh,
right.
spending the funds or whatever it takes to get that problem moved out of the way can be well worth it, considering getting someone that can help you professionally, shortcuts. I mean, that's what, a lot of athletes do. They want someone that can help them resolve their issue quickly so that they can work at their highest level, so that they can work at
Yes.
their highest level. And
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what we do for people. We want to help them to work at their highest level,
I love
whatever
that.
that is for them, whatever that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Work at your highest level.
Mhm.
Exactly. Because it's possible,
It
it
is
is
definitely
possible.
possible. Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah.
possible. If
Yeah.
you're, once you identify, yeah, this isn't working for me. I want to do more. I want to have more. I want to be better. I don't want to feel tired in the morning when I get up. I don't want to. So many times I hear people, I dread getting my picture taken because, I feel so overweight. I don't feel good about myself. You don't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
don't. You really don't. Uh,
Yeah.
just
That's
taking
it.
that opportunity to take that first step is all it is. It's all you have to do.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You're so right. Just take that first step.
Take that first.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. So what would you say was the most important thing for you in achieving with your with this session?
The most important thing for me was one, making the decision to have the session. I mean, that's huge. Um, and then just, it was so easy to chat with you. It was just so easy. There was no pressure about it. And I thought, that's what was, it was so great. It was no pressure. I didn't feel awkward, anything like that. It was just easy. And I'll tell you, a yoga instructor I had, she used to tell me, she says, Lynn, the most difficult part about yoga, for me, it was all those poses, I'd fall out of them and all this kind of stuff. She goes, yeah, it's just people do that. She says, the most difficult thing is walking through that door.
Mm,
And I used to make so many excuses. Oh my goodness, my favorite top wasn't clean. Oh my goodness, it's raining outside. Oh my goodness, I didn't eat like I needed to before I go to my set. The hardest part, she was right, was
yeah,
walking through the door because once you get there, just like, it wasn't even difficult making the appointment with you. We just had to find a time together. And then once you get there, once you show up, the
Yes.
professional that you are, you make it so easy, and just like
Yeah.
she made it so easy, she was like, work at your own level, work at your own speed, do the best that you can. You're not in competition with anyone else, so you do the best that you can do.
Mm,
And, so it's just making the appointment,
I
just
love that.
making the
Yeah.
appointment,
Just show up.
just
Just
show
show
up,
up. Yeah.
just, yeah,
Yes.
show up and let the professionals handle it from there.
Right.
Her.
Right.
I would just let she would say, make modifications if you couldn't do, the full, which I couldn't, just show up, make the appointment, and then let the professional take it the rest of the way.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So, you want to tell us a little bit because people may want to know more about you and what you do. How would they find you? And tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, I am the RN health coach. I support mainly women that want to put choice back in their lives, and that choice is usually around their health and wellness. I consider myself a weight loss expert and as well as smoking, so ending self-sabotage, because those are the
Mm,
two, big ones that cause
yes.
women the worst health issues. They're heart attack prone if you have a lot of, if you're carrying a lot of extra weight or if you're smoking, things like that. So I've been a registered nurse for over 40 years, and I have
Wow.
um, dealt with a lot of people that have had chronic health issues. And it just seemed like it was the same thing. They didn't know where to get started to resolve those issues. And
Mm,
so I like to seem like I can help people find that starting point, find that starting point to, to resolving those issues. A lot of times people nowadays are taking GLP-1 medications and it's helping them to lose the weight, but then they're afraid to go off of it because they think that what we've discovered is something called food noise, that the
wow.
medications are helping them lose the weight, but it's not really resolving the issue as to why they put the weight on in the first place. And so
Wow.
they've just discovered that, food noise is gone. I'm not hearing that chatter all the time about come eat this, have this donut, eat, 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 eat. And so I can help them resolve that issue about that food noise, really get down to the root of the problem as to why they were using food or smoking or alcohol as a crutch,
Mm,
as a
wow.
band-aid, because you can lose the weight, and you might have to stay on the medication forever, but if you really want to figure out why it is, or you can't take the medication and you want some support and getting healthy, then we can, I help people figure that out to calm down that food noise.
Oh, I learned something. I didn't even know food noise was a term, but
Yeah.
it's basically the thoughts people are having
Mhm.
around why they eat. And
Around
so yeah, why they eat the way that they don't want
heard
to
people
eat.
say, "Oh, I keep hearing that donut. Call me in the kitchen." It's just that's
Wow. And so yeah, so you're able to help them reframe or change the ideas or thoughts that are coming up for them.
absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's amazing. And it's so important, like you said, working from the inside out, because it's one thing to work on how you physically look, but it all starts with the mind and your thoughts in order
Right.
to maintain
Hmm.
maintain
So many
weight.
times we use food as comfort. You hear that, a lot about comfort food, and yeah, that's okay. But when it's a habit, when something like
Yeah.
that becomes a habit,
Yeah.
and it starts getting in the way, and it starts putting on all those extra pounds and making you unhealthy, then that's something we need to look at as to why are you using that crutch? Why are you
Mm,
using that crutch, that habit? And we need to break that cycle of that habit because habits protect us. They
yeah.
protect us. They're a shortcut, just like the habit you have. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to relearn how to brush your teeth. It's a habit.
Yeah.
But in our habits, in our unconscious mind, they're not good, they're not bad. They're just habits. They just
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah.
so we need to figure out those that aren't supporting you in being the best that you can be. you know.
Wonderful, wonderful. So how can people find you then, Almira?
Well, they can go to the Facebook page, Elmira Hinton, or they can go to thernhealthcoach.com and they can reach out if they just want to, just have a chat, see if I'm, right for them. And again, on the Facebook page, I got lots of videos, lots of podcasts. You can find me on Spotify. I have a new podcast that I just started that's called Nurses Notes by Elmira. So
Mhm.
just to remind them, and they can find that on Spotify. And again, they can just go to the Facebook page and DM me if they want to have just a quick chat to see if I'm right for them.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of experience, and I know that you have a lot to offer.
I
So
appreciate.
I'm gonna make sure I put your contact information in the description of this video also, so people can reach out to you and find you. And yeah, keep doing the great work that you're doing. Like I said, I've been learning a lot from you too, from your
Good.
content and everything. So,
Thank you.
so thank you so much.
You too. I appreciate your identifying this issue for us solo entrepreneurs because I know it does. I know it speaks to a lot of us and it allows us to have a conversation with you so that we can show up, for our clients. And thank you for doing that. Appreciate that so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.